The winner is Dragon Age Inquisition. And the winner for Game of the Year 2015 is The Witcher 3. Game of the Year goes to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild.
All right, and the Game Award for Game of the Year goes to God of War.
And now, the Game of the Year award goes to The Last of Us Part 2.
The 2021 Game of the Year is It Takes Two.
Game of the Year winner is Elden Ring.
And the Game of the Year is Baldur's Gate 3.
What would you say makes these games similar? Is it an open world? What about compelling narratives? Heartfelt and well-written characters? All great ideas, but they're also all wrong. The reason these games do so well is simple. The developers have made these games easy to play. Or more accurately, they've gotten dumb. You want to scout out a new route in Red Dead Redemption 2? You're an idiot. Why would you think you could even do that? Do you want to enjoy the scenery and find your way through God of War? Hopefully you're colorblind to the color yellow. Ghost of Tsushima? Do you like having hints and tooltips for every single scenario and new enemy camp? Well, they're gonna be there. The Last of Us 2. Good luck solving a single puzzle on your own without an NPC telling you exactly what to do. Breath of the Wild is touted as an open world creative masterpiece. Yet every single shrine and puzzle is solved exactly the same. There's no imagination allowed. Elden Ring lets you summon a clone of yourself because Miyazaki thinks you are too dumb to learn these bosses and play better on your own. And just how many games need a detective vision? Like, I love when my game washes out and I just get streaky colors all over my screen, or floating skeletons, or floating blocks of color. I definitely don't want to figure out puzzles on my own with well-designed context clues and creative dialogue. Yes, that includes The Witcher 3. Sorry, Joseph Anderson fans. I have a couple of theories on why I think games have gotten dumber, and hopefully by the end of the video, you can see why. I want to preface by saying I've enjoyed each of these games independently, but there's no denying that every single one of them acts like you're too dumb to play correctly. I miss a time when games left you to your devices and let you experiment. Back when the idea of making a game was to test the player's ability, and not to test how many copies you could sell. Which brings me to my first theory. Easier games mean more players, which means more profits. Being a white guy in his mid-20s, of course I've played most of the FromSoft games, and I put as much on just about every job application I send out, like it's more impressive than 8 years at Harvard. But with Elden Ring, I might leave that one off my highest achievements list. The reason being is how easy this game becomes with summons. But I want to make a distinction. I don't mean summons like the NPC signs outside or inside boss arenas. Those have existed since Dark Souls 1. And I am only counting those that can occur offline, so the blue phantoms of Demon Souls are not going to be included. These NPC summons have been adjusted specifically for certain boss encounters, which allow for more tuned and balanced help. Think back to Solaire in Dark Souls 1, or our trusty Onion Knight running a Fade in Dark Souls 3. Comparatively, in Elden Ring, there are spirit summons, ranging from dogshit skeletons running around and taking aggro, to I will solo the boss level summons. Like, actually solo the boss. You can sit in the back of the boss arena and hit a blinker if you want. They're gonna handle it for you. I have a lot of love for Elden Ring, but man, it's so lame seeing what should be a challenge to overcome be trivialized for more sales. I believe the reason that Spirit Ashes exist is to make the game easier for people to play, and in turn allow for more purchases. I understand the desire to open the franchise to a wider audience, but I feel like this is definitely the wrong way to do it. I think my biggest gripe is that even if you do not intend on using the summons, it's so heavily pushed upon you. Explore this dungeon? What do I get? Summoning items. Beat this boss. Wow, what do I get? Summoning items. A new NPC at the roundtable hold. What's she selling? Summoning items. The excitement I felt when I first made my way into Nokron the Eternal City. just to find out the first boss in store for me there is the Mimic tier, which then just gives you the best and easiest summon in the game. Like, come on. I understand you don't have to use them, but for many people they will come to rely on this, and inevitably fall down the track of never learning how to get better on their own. It's like taking an escalator to the top of a mountain. Sure, you've reached the summit, but there's no sense of accomplishment, and I think that's just sad. Another reason I believe games have become easier as of late is the need to hold an average person's attention. When TikTok, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, and many other types of short-form media rule the landscape, there's no wonder why developers are making their games easier. There's an obvious struggle to captivate audiences and stop them from scrolling in between dialogue options. As a result, making a game too difficult will make more and more people give up entirely. Streamlining gameplay mechanics or world design will ensure that people don't get lost or confused, exactly like the aforementioned God of War reboot littering the world with yellow paint. But this is not the only offender. Boxes in games painted yellow, I can probably break them. Something glowing red, probably a bad guy. A trail laid right in front of you, ensuring that you'll never get lost, auto lock on combat, ensuring you'll never miss. All of these things detract from making you better at the game. I'm not saying never use training wheels on a bike, but there comes a time where you should take them off, or you risk becoming dependent on them. With how difficult it is to keep people's attention, there's no wonder why the stealth genre has dwindled as of late. Stealth games are notoriously difficult in both exploration and gameplay, not to mention the amount of time you have to dedicate in order to play it right. Aspects which many people find too laborious to invest in. The best way I can illustrate this is with the Splinter Cell franchise. The first 4 Splinter Cell games have a relatively similar gameplay loop. Sneak in to complete multiple objectives unseen, either incapacitate or kill enemies throughout the levels, and move on. The hard thing about these games is the patience it requires to play them. Move quietly to not alert those around you. Avoid cameras or lights, find hidden passages and complete your objectives. Moving forward in the series, the gameplay gets faster. Double Agent is a bit faster paced depending on the version you play, but still this is a stealth-oriented game. When Conviction came out in 2010, the writing was on the wall. No longer could you call this a true stealth game, it was now stealth action. Faster gameplay, big explosive set pieces, interrogation scenes, and a new feature called Marks and Executes. This made the game feel like you were incentivized to go in guns blazing rather than going in ghost. No longer a game of patience and espionage, we are playing a Call of Duty era stealth game. This release coincided with the rise of short-form content. YouTube began highlighting short skits and clips, and just around the corner, Vine was going to take the internet by storm. Developers were realizing the harder the game was for players, the more likely they were going to lose their audience. And so, easier and dumber games became the norm. My final guess as to why games have gotten dumber and/or easier is because of the development costs. When games were being made before 2010, sure they could be a hefty price for development, but normally AAA projects like Mario, Halo, Far Cry, Demon's Souls, or Silent Hill didn't cost you hundreds of millions of dollars to make, and studios would get a pretty good return on investment. This would allow developers to spike the difficulty and let gamers get better rather than cater to the general public. Now it seems like every year a game is cracking the top 10 most expensive development costs in history. When a game costs an outrageous amount of money to develop, of course studios have to make sure they don't alienate a majority of the player base with difficult gameplay, therefore incentivizing easier and simpler games. Now that the game is easily accessible to a large audience, the studios can recoup their costs. Rockstar is notorious for having an incredibly long and expensive dev cycle, and with the quality of their games, there's no wonder why. Red Dead Redemption 2 finished its story outline in 2012 and released in 2018. That is 6 years of money spent on a grueling dev cycle, which is estimated to be over $300 million. I know other people have touched on this before, but have you noticed how obvious and strict the missions in Red Dead Redemption are versus the free roam? Walking around the world in Red Dead is like choosing your own adventure with all the fun gameplay systems and ways to approach scenarios, whereas the campaign is like playing imagination with your 8-year-old cousin. You aren't told what he wants you to do, and there are rules you must follow, but only he knows them, and if you mess up he starts crying. Then he runs and he gets his mom, who looks like a game over screen, and then starts saying you're ruining his game, and only he can use his imagination. Like, why are you giving me the lightsaber if I can't use the Force? I think I'm getting off topic here. With all the effort put into how this game can be interacted with, I find it strange how limiting the campaign is. The YouTube channel Fun with Guru touches on a side story you can find. There are some outlaws with money stashed away. You can choose to kill them and leave, or keep any one of them alive for interrogation, after which they'll point out a spot where they've stashed the money. Depending on which one you choose to keep alive, it changes where the money is. This is super interesting and allows for more interactive gameplay, which is left only in your hands. Nothing here is mandatory, and you would be hard-pressed to find a campaign mission with this level of choice. But making sure players don't get confused and refund your game comes at the cost of interesting or challenging level design. Very similar to this mindset is Naughty Dog. While playing The Last of Us for the first time, you aren't going to notice how many of the sections are scripted, but after that first playthrough, the cracks will start to show. During an early section of the game, you're under sniper fire and have to make your way down the street to take out the sniper. There is no way to shoot him, no grenades you can throw in the window, no interesting or high-skill maneuvers to make this section faster. You must go around, you must confront him. After you make your way to the house and get to the sniper's nest, you have to initiate the cutscene to fight him. You cannot throw a Molotov in the room, you cannot throw a grenade in the room, you cannot even see him in the room until you enter the cutscene. This is another instance of not allowing creativity because you will ruin the intended way to play. I could just be nitpicking, but what would be the consequence of having a voice line like, "Hey, nice throw," or "Hey, nice shot," if you're good enough to do those things and think creatively, as well as having the scripted section? This could be another instance of the development costs impacting the gameplay. When they spend so much money setting up cutscenes and setting up the different gameplay scenarios, they can't possibly spend that much money on creating an outcome for every single player. Kinda sad, but just the nature of game development, I guess. A quick little science break in our YouTube video, and then we can get back to talking about the games. There's a part of your brain called the anterior mid-cingulate cortex. I know that's some big words, but simplified, this is believed to be what allows a person to endure or persevere through a struggle or challenging task. When you have a paper to write that's due at midnight and you want to sleep, if you're on mile 24 of a marathon and you're almost there, but just not quite, even if you're doing a puzzle and just can't quite get the pieces to fit, these are all using the AMSC. This section of the brain greatly separates us from animals. When a human encounters an extreme difficulty or pain, we can rationalize the greater good of enduring it, which allows us to push through, whereas an animal primarily runs off instincts, and they will just pull away from the fire. There is an issue though. If you do not engage this part of the brain often enough by challenging yourself in fair ways, you can become too easily dissuaded from even mildly difficult tasks. In the age of AI and brain rot, people have become too reliant on immediacy and don't stop to think critically about pretty much anything, which is shrinking the AMSC further and worsening the problem. Games are a great way to engage in growth, since there are minimal stakes and allow for fun, interesting problem solving when you're encouraged to do so, which brings us back to our main problem. When are you encouraged to do so? All this fear-mongering makes it seem like we don't get hard difficulty or challenging gameplay now, but that just isn't the case. You come by it far less in a AAA setting, sure, but indie games have been treating us like adults since we were 10. Which may or may not be a good thing. Games like Super Meat Boy, The Witness, Fury, Return to the Obra Dinn, and probably most well-known indie games like Terraria and Minecraft set you down and say, figure it out. I have a lot of respect for the games that have faith in their players. A developer should be like a parent. Sometimes it's okay to let your kid cry and figure it out on their own. It grows a person's ability to persevere and think critically. Like the thing we just talked about. Recently, I have been watching a Minecraft playthrough by About Oliver. Watching him play and slowly understand how all the parts of the world interact is so nostalgic, but also so enjoyable because of his sheer ability to problem solve. Sure, the obvious things like wood makes wood tools and stone makes stone tools is interesting, but seeing him figure things out like nether portals by exploring the world and using context clues, or how potions work by trial and error, is so exciting. If he had a guide up the whole time, taking away all the whimsy and joy of learning on your own, his playthrough would be significantly less engaging to me. Similarly, I have been doing a playthrough of The Forest with my friends Mason and Tim. Shout out to the boys. Niner, this is first wing. Oh my god.
I'm going in hard.
Throughout our playthrough, we have been slowly uncovering different items, reading notes and lore entries, understanding and uncovering the secrets of the island, all while being attacked by creatures in the night.
Oh, there's
Our base started out small, but after some time, we fortified and created a large bunker. We had to learn the best defensive strategies and built up our arsenal of tools all on our own. It was very time consuming and difficult throughout, but we had one rule. No looking anything up. Even though we all were scratching our heads from time to time not knowing where to go next, instead of going on some guide or wiki, we geared up and went on expeditions. Sometimes it went well, sometimes it did not. But this game, in the same way as Minecraft, lets us figure it out on our own. It doesn't treat us like idiots. We are supposed to be survivors. It would take us out of the setting if someone was holding our hand the whole time. AAA games still have a way to go when it comes to not underestimating your intelligence, but I want to highlight some games that do it right. Cyberpunk, under its many flaws, is a masterpiece of a game. CDPR, when developing this game, clearly had a vision in mind, and they knew better than to assume the people playing were going to need hand-holding. The sheer amount of ways to engage in a majority of levels is unfathomable. With build variety and character variety, no two playthroughs will ever be the same. I want to specifically highlight one mission in the game that has a ton of ways to engage. The mission Gimme Danger sees V breaking into the Arasaka warehouse to hack a float. I want to start out with the obvious ways to do this. You can go in guns blazing, get in, get out, who cares who sees and who dies, just get the job done. You can sneak your way in, find blind spots and no one will ever know you're there. Want to show off your tech? Turn off cameras, or even people's eyes. If you've got the RAM, you can do it. Got a sniper you like? Pick off the targets from afar, float's clear, it's yours. Now I want to get into the interesting methods. If you've decided to go full Borg, hop up on the roof, break open some glass. Hey, just another day in Night City. Now that you're in, get to the float and get out. Cyberware has its perks. What if you want to roleplay? Don't worry, that's here too. Playing as a corpo, you can tell a guard you work for security. Bring up the right names and you can waltz right in. None of these are mandatory. The joy of this level is finding out how you want to play. There are so many levels like this, and it's always a pleasure to find another way to engage with every subsequent playthrough.
Stick some iron in your mouth and pull the trigger.
I wouldn't be me if I didn't bring up Dishonored in this video, so what better time than now? Similarly to Cyberpunk, I want to talk about a specific level in this game that has a plethora of ways to tackle the objectives. Neutralize Kirin Jindosh and save Anton Sokolov. Beginning the level, already there are two deciding factors. Who are you? Being able to play as Corvo or Emily Atano respectively changes a lot of the things you can and will do. Corvo is older, wiser, more skilled, and much more suited for stealth or non-lethal gameplay. While Emily is young, hot-headed, and fast, she doesn't mind tearing guards limb from limb. After figuring out who you want to be, we can move on to the level here, the Clockwork Mansion. This place lives up to its name. Every room can transform before your very eyes. It's stocked full of your traditional human guards as well as custom-made automatons made by the eccentric genius Kirin Jindosh. These automaton soldiers offer plenty of variety when it comes to dispatching them. Grenades, mines, swords, guns, powers, explosive canisters, or you can just use stealth to avoid them entirely. The mansion is an oyster which allows for a multitude of ways to engage. Go straight forward clearing rooms of guards and making your way into the lab, or you can climb inside the walls and reveal the skeleton of this puzzle box home. The gears and pistons raise and lower, twist and turn, allowing for new accesses and passageways. All are here to be explored or missed entirely. You are not told to explore in any specific way. I wouldn't be surprised if many players miss the ability to climb around like a rat in the walls of a castle. But to the developers, it's all the same. Why is that? When Arcane made this game, they gave one defining message about gameplay.
The way that we allow for so much player freedom, the play your way philosophy as we like to call it, is that your game will inevitably be a hybrid. Because you allow the player to do whatever he wants, he needs to be able to sneak, he needs to be able to fight, he needs to be able to steal, to look through keyholes, climb, anything the player can imagine.
When the devs talk about it here, it's so passionate. They believe in the players to experience it the way that makes it enjoyable to them. No hand-holding, no random hints about puzzles, nothing. This is such a contrast to the games of today, and you can really feel it when the gameplay options open up. Are you knee-deep in bodies, or knee-deep in shadows? If you're into stealth games or action games, as always, I cannot recommend this game enough, especially if you too are tired of the way the games today feel. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but isn't the reason we play games to triumph over the challenge ahead of us? To face evil head-on, and to show that the human will is the most powerful thing on the planet? Don't we want to climb the mountain, swim through the river, fell the large tree, finish the race, slay the beast? Is it more fun to get free diamonds or to brave the caves and pull them up yourself? When you lay your head down at the end of the day, do you dream of a life where you walk down a shoveled sidewalk, or one where you shuffled through the snow? Don't let these games keep getting dumber. Show them you have what it takes to get all 315 Riddler trophies, that you can get through the Godskin duo alone, that you can slay the creature of light as well as the creatures of the abyss. When backed into the corner, you chose to stand your ground and beat back the Githyanki in Baldur's Gate. When tested time and time again, you chose to finish the Cuphead tutorial. Take back your life by taking back your pride. And always remember,
An adventure's no fun if it's too easy.